Good evening, everyone. Surprise live stream. I just wanted to get on and do episode 25 of the Mundane Life of a Gay tonight, considering I had a little bit of time to do it. So I don't know if I'll have a lot of people tuning in. If not, that's fine. I'm sure everyone who is interested will go back and rewatch this once it is posted after the fact. But I wanted to do this episode talking about a very specific topic, and that topic is navigating expectations, whether that be the expectations we place on ourselves or the expectations that other people place on us. I will talk about that in a few minutes. I'm going to obviously wait a few minutes to see if anybody else pops on. And in that meantime, I will just talk about random things, I suppose. So, yay for that. Um, Now, I don't know if I'm going to go all 30 minutes because I know I wanted to do 30 minutes for these episodes, but I'm really pooped today and I don't know if I'm going to be able to go 30 minutes. We'll see. We'll see how this goes. But um, so just to kind of provide an overview of how I've been doing lately, well, I've been doing all right. Like, I'm not like 100%, but I'm not dismal either. I've been kind of like in this in between state. I guess it really depends on what aspects we're going to talk about specifically. So when it comes to, hey Taylor, Taylor's here and Arpy's here. It's good to see you both. Taylor, how are you? I hope you're doing well. So, I've been doing pretty well mental health wise. So that is, well, for the most part, I've been doing pretty well mental health wise. I've actually been having more physical health issues lately than mental health issues. I've been having a lot of digestive problems, and I found out the other day that I am severely lactose intolerant, and apparently I've been that for quite some time, and it's gotten really worse over the past few weeks. I didn't know what was going on with me. Like I've spent the last few weeks just not really eating, being really lethargic, and just all in all feeling really horrible. And suffice it to say, things are fixed now. I am on a lactose supplement, so that helps me eat again, and it's just really refreshing having a stomach that actually functions. No baby yet. They'll start my induction tonight or tomorrow. Uh, I we debated about it. We went to a restaurant to celebrate me being able to eat again because I have been in a really not good place physically lately. So we were socially distanced. We were the only people in the restaurant. It was very we were obviously exercising our safety. So it wasn't like I don't think that it was a reckless decision, but that's just me. So everybody has their stances, I guess. Um, but I do appreciate the thought of my partner wanting to at least celebrate that small aspect. So, oh, thank you, Arpy. I appreciate that. Thank you. So but yeah, mental health wise, I've been pretty good. Although, of course, the physical ridiculousness has been kind of troubling due to the problems eating, so on and so forth. But it's much better now, and yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. So that's a refreshing change. A while back, just for additional updates, I got my first vaccination, so that's good news. I'm just going to be getting my second one here soon, so that's a relief, I suppose, right? Obviously, just because a vaccination's happening, like I still think that social distancing and exercising caution is super important. So, um, but yeah, truthfully, thinking about it, all in all, I think that for a long while we're all going to probably be exercising some caution. So, and if people do make the choice to go out and do stuff, like people have to do it wisely and make the best decisions for their own safety and for the safety of others around them, of course. Let's see here. When it comes to therapy, therapy's been going pretty well. I've been having a pretty, good time with that. It's been helping me address a lot of different things um, that I didn't realize I was struggling with. And I'm going to be doing some separate videos talking about um, talking about that in a separate video. So, but yeah, I'm not gonna like if I were to talk about that in this episode, it would be a very, very long episode, and I'm sure you don't want to deal with that. Let's see. Let's see. RP. I've not had any side effects to the vaccine, although I probably will with the second dosage because most people have been having those side effects. So, Um, when it comes to creative life, I've been getting ready to do a reading toward the end of this month to celebrate Arbor Day. If you would like to participate and attend the reading, it'll be on my Donny Speaks channel. So if you want to go check that out, I would greatly appreciate that. That's on April 30th. I think it's going to be at 7 p.m. And basically, throughout the month of April, if anybody purchases a copy of my book, Carbon Footprint, um, I'm going to be donating proceeds to that particular nonprofit, the Arbor Day Foundation, which is a tree conservation nonprofit. So I'm really passionate about that nonprofit specifically. So I'm really happy that, you know, I'll be hopefully putting forth something. Honestly, even if nobody buys anything, I'm still going to be making a donation because I like normally every April I try to do something for Earth Day and Arbor Day, but considering I don't live out in the country anymore, it's really hard to do that. Like when it comes to like planting things, so on and so forth. So I figured this year it might be better to find an alternative thing to do. Let's see. Do, 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 do. I'm not really having any other um I don't have any other updates really with regard to creative stuff. Like honestly, when school finishes here, my goal is to um, work on doing a few. Well, obviously, I plan on working on my own creative writing and making some time to finish my second collection, which is about it's a little over halfway finished. Taylor says, hopefully, you're wrapping up the semester without too much pain. It's been It's been stressful, mostly because students have been experiencing a lot of anxiety, and that may just have a lot to do with the fact of the state things are right now. Because obviously things have been really kind of spiking a little bit. And I know that a lot of people who I've spoken to have either had family members with COVID or they are experiencing just a general anxiety about it, which is completely understandable. So kind of navigating my own anxiety with everybody else's has been a little bit troubling, but I feel like that's to be expected during this time right now anyway. But I'm managing. I'm managing. I miss seeing you all the time. I miss seeing you at school. Hell, I miss being at school. But then again, another part of me does actually enjoy doing everything remote as well because, well, being introverted and everything like that. So, um, this one thing that I did want to talk about today with regard to navigating expectations is actually one thing that I've been talking about in therapy as well lately. And I'm trying to remember what the specific context was. Let me see if I can find it. I try to do like notes while I'm doing therapy sessions to kind of remind myself of things, but um, these like I've just been really struggling with. Oh, I miss you too. I miss you too. I've been just really struggling with my own expectations, like placing like these unrealistic expectations on myself in basically every department possible one can think of. And and kind of also juggling what I think other people's expectations are of me too. And I think that that's kind of like the nature of anxiety and depression also, is that we kind of create like these unrealistic ideas in our minds of what other people expect from us, and we kind of get carried away with them, and they just make us super anxious, or we kind of think about prior experiences where we've had expectations placed on us, like really toxic ones, and we just kind of default back to that, even when there are no expectations on us now, we kind of default back to that because we're that pain. I mean, in a way, it's kind of a trauma. My therapist mentioned that it's in a way a trauma, but that pain, if it's like kind of like unconfronted and unresolved, like that kind of becomes a default setting for reaction. So, um, and I've been planning on doing another video about this, about shame, and I'm gonna talk about this later, but shame for me is definitely something that I've really struggled with, that really kind of fuels my anxiety about other people's expectations of me. And I know a lot of it is like, and I've been having so many conversations with my partner and my therapist um, about this, but I'm always really worried about being perfect. And I know that a lot of people do struggle with that, like I'm always worried about, like, I don't want people to think that I am being a bad person, making the wrong decisions, being unwise, or anything like that. And if I ever get a moment where I feel like someone is questioning those aspects, I get like really, really hard on myself. And it kind of, I won't say that it's really triggering because it's not like uber detrimental or anything, but it kind of like creates this snowball effect in my mind where I just keep thinking about it. It's like a feedback loop of like, oh my God, like, am I really a horrible person? Am I a good person? Am I fulfilling what everyone else expects of me? Am I checking off this imaginary list that I think that everyone else has when it comes to my what I say, what I do, um, how I perform with things, so on and so forth. Mind you, this isn't a constant thing for me. This isn't like something that is 24/7. But there are moments where it kind of becomes um exasperated. I think it really becomes exasperated when I'm in a, semi-manic state. When I'm feeling very almost hyper aware of everything around me, if that makes sense. Like that hyper awareness kind of makes me think to myself of like, "Oh my gosh, like what are people like? I wonder what people are thinking or saying. What's going on in their minds? Did I do something to upset them? Did I do something wrong?" Like that. Notice how that's kind of like a snowball effect, right? Well, that's what really um, gets to me sometimes, and I've had to really work on kind of knowing how to speak to myself in those types of situations, like knowing how to like talk myself through it. Sometimes it's successful, sometimes it's not. Um, but like I kind of have to just like provide some affirmations for myself and remind myself that hey, things are you're kind of like imposing this unrealistic idea of what may be happening on things that you could not possibly have any knowledge of. And that's kind of what kind of detaches me from that. Taylor says, I think people's expectations are based on their own fears. Yes, as well as my expectations too. Like, of course, the fear of like people being upset, or the fear of maybe saying the wrong thing or doing the wrong thing. Like my thing with you going to the restaurant is probably heavily based on my fear as a pregnant person, new mom who lost a family member from COVID. Yes. I am so sorry that happened, by the way. COVID's been really COVID's been really hitting close to home for a lot of the people in my life, a lot of dear friends, and in my life too recently. I'm not going to talk about that yet here on YouTube in drastic detail, but suffice it to say, the past couple of days, I have found out that people pretty close to me have it. Um, and it's kind of like reignited my own fears as well, you know. Um, like, had I found that out, say, before I went out the other day, I probably wouldn't have, because I probably would have been in that kind of like hyper fear state where I would have been like, okay, this is getting really too close. I don't want anything to, like, I don't want to like kind of put out into the world like, oh, something is going to happen, because that's like one of my latent worries as well. Like, oh, I have to kind of keep my thoughts in check, because I don't want to put something out in the world that might, I don't know, embolden something out there to happen. And then of course I kind of remind myself, like, Donnie, like, come on now, like, is that really what's concerning you, or is it something else? So, but um I've also been kind of like this juggling with expectations, and this is, I don't think I really talked about this extensively. Well, no, scratch that. I think I may have a couple of times in a few past videos, but um I guess a lot of the time when I get in those, I don't know if I should call it a, manic state, where I start being really hyper aware of what everybody else is perceiving regarding me, but I notice that when I get in those kind of um shifts, I have like this really strong instinct to either run away or isolate myself. I guess one could argue that that's the same thing. And I have to be very careful with those, because those are kind of situations where, like, if one runs away or isolates themselves, that could potentially, I mean, affect the person's well-being, but it could also affect other people in, one's life. And I think that that's what I use now. That's the thought process I use to kind of get through that need. But I've been trying to write about that in my new collection of poems. It's really hard to write about, because it's such a difficult thing to describe, like just this very strong desire to just run away or disappear for a while, you know. The mind is a weird thing sometimes. Taylor says, you're not responsible for the behavior of the universe. Yes, I agree. That's something that I have to talk myself through a lot. And Leo makes a good point. Like, it is kind of expected for us to struggle with the expectations of others. Like, I really do think that there's just this overarching performative pressure that is kind of placed on us. And the thing is, like, I don't think it's not something that people are always aware of. It's something that can be very subliminal, and I think that it's very, I don't know, it's very subliminal, but at the same time, like, I think that it is kind of like at the forefront of our minds, if that makes sense. So, but beyond that, like, there's nothing else significant going on with me as of late. So I just wanted to briefly talk about that for a moment. So go get some food, my friend. Go eat. You deserve it. You're eating for two, right? I love you. And tell hubby I said hi too. So, I think that's pretty much it for me. This is going to be just a 20-minute episode tonight. I got to get back to work and start working on some stuff. So, anyway, I will be doing another video soon. I'm going to be doing one talking about Godzilla versus Kong. So, I've watched it a few more times, so I wanted to kind of flesh out some thoughts on that. So, anyway, please stay safe out there. I love you all, and just remind yourself that it's okay to talk about things like this, because I think everyone just, needs to be very conscious about their mental health during these difficult times, right? All right. I love you. Talk to you soon, and have a good day. Bye.